TxStampin Sharon. I cannot wait for you to see this fun card. When I first saw this stamp set in the catalog, and it's pretty cheap too, I knew I had to have it because I love using Stampin' Right markers on my stamps. Wait till you see the tips and tricks I have to share with you. You're gonna go nuts. If you are new to my channel, I want to welcome you. I invite you to hit the subscribe button below and then hit that notification bell. Speaking of below, if you click the show more button, you can find out how to contact me, sign up for my newsletter, my blog, all that good stuff. If you currently already don't have a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I'd be honored to help you with your Stampin' Up supply needs. I've been doing this for almost 23 years. I love teaching and sharing and helping you get your craft supplies. Let's get started. On today's video, we are using Happiest of Birthdays. And this stamp set makes me so happy because I have been dying for big, bold stamps so that I can use my markers, my Stampin' Right markers. So when I saw this, I had to have it. It is in the new annual catalog. And I have been making some really cute cards that I'm gonna share with you today. First of all, I have my cardstock all cut. I have a piece of Whisper White that is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. I have a piece of Granny Apple Green that is 3 inches by 3 3/4. And then I have a piece of Rich Razzleberry that is 3 1/4 by 4 inches. I have a piece of Whisper White that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I have the Rainbow Glimmer Paper. Now, don't freak out because I'm not going to use this whole sheet. However, it does measure 4 inches by 5 1/4. I'm using Granny Apple Green as my card base, and it is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Here is my fun stamp. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited. Red rubber, photopolymer, it doesn't matter what stamps, what type of stamps you're using, you can use your Stampin' Right water-based markers. Do not use Stampin' Blends or an alcohol-based marker for this technique. So I'm going to take the fatter brush tip and I'm going to color on my stamp. And that was Rich Razzleberry, by the way. Then I'm going to pick up the Granny Apple Green. Next, I'm going to use Bermuda Bay. Then I'm going to switch back to the Razzleberry. Now, I mentioned that these are water-based markers, which means that first word that I colored, it's dry. It's bone dry, okay? But we're gonna re-moisten it. I'm going to use a little bit of my hot air. And then we're gonna stamp. When I exhale on it like that, it re-moistens the dried marker. So fun. Look at that. Love it. Now, if you want to try to use your Stamparatus, you could. But because I was switching and using different markers, I chose to use my clear block. Let's bring in our other card pieces. Okay, so now we're going to assemble our layers. I am using the new Seal Plus that I have fallen in love with. Just a little bit goes a long way. So we're gonna mount this on our Granny Apple Green and then add some more adhesive. And we're gonna add it to our rich raspberry. Now, the glimmer paper, the Rainbow Glimmer Paper has other shades that go with it. I think it's like crushed curry and magenta. So anyway, I cut this piece right here to match my markers, okay? So I knew that I didn't want to use a whole sheet like this. Like I said, this measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, but I wanted to use this paper on my card. So I want to do some paper saving. I'm going to flip this over and we're gonna center it, just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm using a pencil to mark, okay? Now, I could have taken this to back to my paper trimmer and cut that out, but I need some more of that glimmer paper because I'm using the Balloon Duo Punch because I needed balloons for my card. And actually, I'm gonna have extra balloons for other cards if I choose not to use the glimmer paper for the layer that I'm doing for this card. So look at all these fun balloons. They're already colored. I didn't have to stamp them or anything. They're all ready for me to add to my project. So next, we're going to add our glimmer layer to our card base. And see, now I have very little waste. Let's see, we're gonna do this one this way. Okay, and we're gonna pop this up with some dimensionals. Pop off the backings. And now we're going to add it to our card, and no one will know that there's not much of a center under that. Way cool. Okay, so next we're going to add some balloons, and we can look at our balloons and decide which one do we want. I think because I have the raspberry up here, I'm going to go with this one here, and this one down here. Oh no, I think I'll put it right there. Yeah, we're gonna put it right there. Okay, so I decided I needed some string for my balloons, right? This is the Forever Greenery ribbon combo. I love the ribbon. The ribbon is super soft, but I needed some thread or linen thread or baker's twine, so I opted to use this. Just because it was shiny, something else that's shiny. So I've pulled out my tape dispenser and I'm gonna take and put a piece of tape. That was probably too big. Yep. I'll just trim that up. Put a piece of tape on the back, rub it down. And then I'm gonna need some glue dots. I'm gonna take and wrap this around a few times. And I'm just gonna hold it right there. I'm gonna get a glue dot. I'm gonna kind of hold it to the side. And I'm gonna use a glue dot to keep that where I want it. Kind of mold it around and get it where you want it. And then now, my string comes off of the balloon without tying it. Way cool, right? Okay, so on this side of my balloon, I'm just gonna put a little bit of adhesive. And then on the other side, I'm gonna put a dimensional. Let's see. Oh, before we attach it, we're gonna trim our ribbon. We don't need that much. And then it just kind of did that, right? And I was like, oh, what do I do with you? I took my snips and I opened them up and I just kind of shredded it. Now, you could go ahead and pull those ends to make them more stringy, but I'm gonna leave mine like it is so it looks like my sample that I'm gonna show you. And so, yep, we already took that off. So now we're going to add our balloon right here. And then there again, that ribbon, what do we do with this, okay? So I'm gonna get my silicone mat because nothing will stick to this thing, which I love that. So I'm gonna take a little bit of liquid glue, just a little bit. And I'm gonna kind of, let's see, how do I want it to go? I want it to kind of loop a little bit. Just let it flow the way it wants to, kind of like that maybe. And then I'm just gonna put a little dot of glue, little dot. And then we'll put that right there while we get the other balloon ready. Now we're gonna take a piece of tape, again, tiny piece, and we're gonna attach that one to the back. We're gonna do this balloon the same way, holding it off to the side. Get a glue dot, add it right there to hold that in place. And it doesn't matter if you touch it or something because it's not gonna, it's just holding our ribbon, our twine where we want it. And now same thing on this side. I'm just gonna put a little bit of adhesive right there on the left side. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of adhesive right here on the left and then grab a dimensional. It's amazing how things just move on your craft table, isn't it? It's like, I just had that thing, where did it go? All right, so we're gonna do this. And now our thread is in place over here. We're all good. There we go. And we're gonna trim this and do the same thing. Okay, a little bit of glue. And then we're gonna attach that. Put this back on. Okay, so while we're letting our balloon set up, we're gonna stamp our sentiment on the inside. I'm using Rich Razzleberry. And we're stamping, it's your day, enjoy it. Look at that, our strings are where we want them. Isn't that so fun? Look at this card, it just makes me happy. All right, let's add this layer inside. Do you see how little I am using of this? I know I've talked about it on some of my other videos. You get a lot more on here than you did our other adhesive that we used to carry. And yes, it costs a little bit more than the other did. However, you get more and you use way less. Okay, this is my card. I hope you love it. Now, don't leave me. I've got 2 other samples to show you because you may not want to do the Rainbow Glimmer Paper like I did, but I don't know why not, because that is just the funnest card. Okay, so that was my prototype that I did, and I switched. See how you can make the card look totally different? And my balloons are different. Okay, so whenever you're trying to be inspired with colors, like my markers, what colors do I use? So I was inspired by the glimmer paper, okay? On this card, I was inspired by the designer series paper, okay? So there you go. What if you don't have any of that? Which everybody has printed papers. However, if you don't, what else can you do? How about just cardstock? Now, I did use the new textiles embossing folder. You wouldn't have to, but I'm just telling you, these are just such fun cards. and I had so much fun making them. I made this one first, and then I made this one because I always need masculine cards. I always need birthday cards, period. But then I was like, oh, let's play with the Rainbow Glimmer Paper. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you currently already don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd be honored to help you with your Stampin' Up! Supply needs. Happy stamping, y'all!